the thing I always like to start with is just thanking the best community in technology. We've been together for a long time, and I'm so grateful for how all of you are sharing the best practices of what's going on, are updating folks on our roadmap, networking, learning from each other, many lifelong friendships. In fact, last night, as sort of wandered around the conference and casino afterwards, running into people I hadn't seen in a couple years, it was so wonderful to see how happy everybody was to see each other. And yes, we're here to talk about technology and work, and it's all serious, but I think the thing that makes this so wonderful is that this is a very special community that supports each other. And so I just want to thank you for those of you who hosted virtual events during the last couple years, those of you who supported colleagues in need, and frankly, those of you who gave us direct feedback on where we needed to improve the product for hybrid work. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This really is the best community in tech. All this hybrid transition has been super challenging. In some ways, it's been stuff we've talked about for many years, the ability to work any place, anytime, with anyone, with empowerment and security, delivered every day, new value coming from the cloud and running on any device. The last couple years, that's gone from optional to essential. Every organization of every size and types, from schools to hospitals and more, had to adapt. And now that we're transitioning to the new normal, which is a new level of stress, the flexibility is here to stay. Companies like the resiliency and flexibility that they've gained in the last couple years. Employees do too. The most common conversation starter in the last few weeks are, how often do you go into the office? We're all getting a little bit sick of that phrase. And for some people, it's going to be never, which is fine. Some people, it's going to be every day. Some people, it's going to be once a week. Some people, it's going to be once every few weeks. And so we're going to have to all figure out how to work together in this new world, and it's super challenging and stressful. So we are not just here to sell you technology, but we're here to listen, share the best practices, and provide guidance. So you see us updating our new work trend index for what we're learning from people and organizations, and providing guidance to leadership. So I strongly encourage you, this has been a crisis. Let's not make any bones about it. And in any crisis, there's an opportunity and a need for strong leadership. So I hope the tools we provide on the hybrid workplace help you play a transformative role in your organization. During this period, we are very grateful that you all picked us as the foundation for how your organization works. We know you have a lot of great choices, companies that are innovating, very capable companies. But you embraced Microsoft Teams, and for that we're super, super grateful. We celebrated the 5th birthday of Teams a few weeks ago, and it really is a unique product, bringing together in a simple way asynchronous and synchronous communication and collaboration and content management in a single product unlike any others in the market. And organizations of all sizes have embraced it. We're now over 270 million monthly active users of Teams, billions of minutes every day, but we don't take this for granted. Hopefully you've seen on the Teams blog the pace of innovation from devices to simplicity to security to developer extensibility. Of course, complementing our communications assets in Teams is the content management capabilities in SharePoint. There we also have a unique approach, bringing together a holistic content management system that does files and sites and lists and videos and powers new things like Viva and Loop. And thank you for all the embracing and support you've done of the SharePoint platform, not just in SharePoint sites, but all the experiences it powers like OneDrive and so forth. And over 100 petabytes of new content is being added each month to SharePoint. And it's because people have embraced SharePoint both as an app, which is more out of box than ever before, and as a platform, which is extensible with the SharePoint framework. I've done this slide before because we passed this milestone a little while ago, but people ask, well, what about SharePoint sites? What are you seeing there? So I worked with our data science team and dug up the data, and we took a look at how many new active SharePoint sites were being created each month. We didn't count the OneDrive stuff. We didn't count dev and test and demo sites that went away. We just looked at active sites. And each month, over 8 million new SharePoint sites are being created. Some standalone, some connected to Teams, but our marquee communication site experience that's really the backbone of the modern intranet has grown in adoption 64% just in the last year. So we're now in year 21 of SharePoint, and we still have a core experience that's growing over 60% a year. So thank you so much for all your adoption of SharePoint. The key thing I again like to ground us on is we built this together. Your support, your feedback at events like this has helped refine our product strategy. I date the cloud era from us to 2008, where Bill Gates announced Microsoft Online Services would be available to all organizations at the SharePoint conference. And you've seen us transform to an elastic architecture that's updating every day. We're now entering a new era in 2022 with the hybrid workplace, and there's still a lot of new things to figure out. And so as much as I like to look back and celebrate this event or this milestone or this release, people who know me, I love to look forward even more. And so let's talk about the renewal and community and product investments coming forward. As I said, this is the best community in tech, but we've been missing something the last couple years. I used to love, on a Saturday morning, my wife would see me wake up and grab my phone. She'd say, "What are you doing?" I said, "Somewhere in the world, there's a SharePoint Saturday or a Microsoft 365 Saturday where somebody is learning something that they're going to go back on Monday to take to their company and be a hero. Somewhere else, there's somebody presenting, nervous for the first time in front of a room full of people being an expert. Somewhere there's a SharePoint where people are networking and meeting lifelong friends. And so the scale of virtual is here to stay, but we want to foster that as well as other sorts of in-person community connections. And now is really the time to do it. So it's your community, not ours, but we want to be a catalyst to that. And so we're creating a new community advisory board where you can join with the URL here. And we're going to listen to what you need from us to better support your community building in your area, your industry, your type of organization. On the product side, I'll just tee up a couple things and then we'll bring up folks to show the specifics. We are investing both in infrastructure and experiences. And in fact, we don't always blog about it or do demos about it, but the overwhelming majority of our team is actually on the infrastructure to focus on scalability, performance, reliability, security, and so forth. And so I just thought I'd highlight a couple things. In the last year and a half or so, we've re-architected how Teams meeting video is done and reduced the consumption of battery by 50%. So that we can run on a broader class of devices, you can have longer battery life, we interfere less with other applications. And we are not stopping there. On mobile, on web, on Mac, on Windows, the biggest investment in the Teams team right now is focusing on improving performance and memory utilization. So you'll see a ton of progress there in the meeting experience, and the chat and channel switching, and a lot more. Similarly, on the SharePoint side, we've re-architected how File I/O works. Scott talked about, if you were in his session, about the close partnership with the Azure team. We actually code in Azure Storage. We work with the Azure Front Door team, the Azure Networking team. We've contributed code to the open source HTTP stack that is used by both Edge and Google's browser. And we've dramatically increased the performance of File I/O based on SharePoint and OneDrive over the last few years, but obviously not stopping there. We want to be the best, fastest solution in the market. So on top of this infrastructure, we're delivering new experiences faster than ever. Teams, Stream, Yammer, Viva, and much more on every platform, and addressing both goals for more simplicity, which is the top feedback we hear as we introduce all these capabilities, but also more flexibility, because people do want additional capabilities in Teams meetings and controls. So we're investing on both sides, simplicity and net new innovation. Thank you so much for all your support. We're not looking back, we're going to look forward.